Okay, so let me pull up no board for you guys so you guys can see what I'm doing as usual. Alright, so we've got no board up. So to create our coin, all I did was I went to Google, did a quick Google search to find a cool Zelda coin. So I might do something in the form of this, right? You know, where it's got this brass and that Z with the flower and the Hyrule sword or whatever. It's just an outline of it. So this is cool. So like this is one where it's front and back. So like we can do that on the back and then this on the front. So this is going to be something that we can make. And if you guys make this right, you guys can find a 3D printer somewhere and print out the coin for yourself. So that's going to be something that's pretty cool. So this is what we're going to make right here. I'm going to actually save that and throw that into the chat for you guys so you guys know what we're creating as well. So I'm just going to save that. But our reference is right here. We already have this image that we can use, and that's what we're going to do. So let us begin with our, let's see, let's begin with our line tool. And we're just going to draw out this shape. So just gonna make sure like that. I'm in my front view, as you guys can see, right? Boom, just like that. Just gonna give it a little bit of a edge like that. If I hold down Shift, right, I can get a straight line out of there. And then boom, boom, Shift to get a straight line, and then maybe just two right there. All right, it's just really is that easy. So I'm just clicking. I'm making sure I'm in the front view, right? I'm making sure that I am in the front view, and this guy overlaps our other one. So boom, just like that. Boom, boom. Shift, Shift, right? Shift, drag, oops. Go back to my front view. If I mess it up, hold down Shift, boom, boom. And select that. It's going to ask if I want to close the spline. The answer is yes. Yes, I do. All right. So this is just, you know, just the way another way to model things using splines. And the thing is, all of these little assignments that you guys are doing, right, they're just going to help you guys in the long run, because they might seem, you know, simple and, you know, but once you start doing them and understanding the process, you guys will be much better, and you'll be able to deploy these skills whenever you need, you know, whenever you need to do something. All right. And the idea for me is I'm still probably going to have to clean a lot of this up. So do one like that, do one like that, and then boop, close the spline. And I'm still going to have to, you know, like I said, I'm going to have to go do cleanup in the end. This is a good start, you know. And another thing I want to do is in the text itself, I'm going to add all those cool rips that you guys see in there. But, you know, you need a base first. You know, you got to have something to start with, something to start from. And then you take that, you know, embellish on it. Right, so right there. I want it to stay in the same shape. So if I don't want it to start a new shape again, I'm just going to uncheck that. And the next thing I draw is going to still be in that same A shape, like that. So now I can turn that back on. So now each of these are their own individual things. So, and for this is like kind of like Times New Romany. So I think we can get away with using Times New Roman. So I'm gonna type in it's all caps. So the legend of, and I'm just gonna click in my front view like so. It's gonna populate it. And if I now select my entire text in this text box here, I can then go in, let me just find T. We have a host of them, and if you have, it's very Times New Romany. I'm just going to scale it down quite a bit. Just going to bring it in here. So it's very much Times New Roman. There, Times New Roman bold. Yeah. There we go. All right. So Times New Roman bold, and I'm just making sure that, and they're very close to each other. So I might want to check the kerning, right? And that kerning is going to bring the text closer together, right? I don't want to bring it too close, because what's going to happen is I just wanted to, so if I start throwing my modifiers on there, I might start to see some weird overlapping things, and it's not going to look good. But yeah, so here we go. I messed with the kerning a little bit. Now it fits a little bit better on there. And then I can just shift, drag this guy down, right? And then I'm just going to use this same one. I'm going to really increase the scale of this guy. So this is just breath B. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that, and then shift, drag to create the REATH. Because they're two different sizes, just going to select this text, drag it up there like so, scale her down, right? And I'm obviously going to have to reduce that kerning once again. And then the B just needs to go up in scale. Just going to scale her up like so. Maybe even a little more. Okay. Okay, breath, and then actually I'm just going to select these two, shift, drag, make this a copy, and then turn this B into a W, and then ILD. All right. Don't want these guys to touch like that. Probably just gonna align them on the top. Right. Move this guy over a little bit. Just want to give him a little bit of space. So the next thing I need now is of and the. I'm just going to shift drag, make a copy. All right, as you guys can see, this is not rocket science, right? This is something you guys can all do, and you know, you guys won't be able to tell me any different. I know you guys can do this. You're just typing stuff out. Let's move this guy up a little bit. Move this guy. Scale her up. This guy, we're gonna have to move this guy over a little bit. Okay. I'm just gonna scale them down in general, just a little bit, just so they fit right under my Zelda font like this. Alright, so let's see what we have. Just gonna make a copy. Okay. Delete. So I forgot to make this little hole for the D. Shift, drag. Alright, there we go. Now if I select this guy, I can actually just attach. Alright, so now there's these two shapes in here that we want to create. So I'm just going to do that like so. Alright, I'm doing them really simple now because, you know, I'm going to go in and kind of fix them up here in a second. So this is just easy stuff to do right here. Just drawing splines, and then you're gonna refine your spline later on. So I'm just gonna let's start attaching some of this stuff. I'm gonna attach this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. Alright, so now I just kind of want to start detailing this guy out because it's got like some rips and different things like that in it that that make it kind of stand out. So that's what I'm going to try to do here. So I'm going to stop attaching things. Select this guy, shift, then just rotate this guy so he can go right here. Alright, so just gonna make sure these guys are okay. Easy. And now if I select refine, I'm just gonna start adding some points to the parts where I see some like rippage. And that's what I'm going to try to simulate. And you guys can see I'm throwing like 3 or 4 in there because they're not complex, but they do have some rips and stuff in there. So the idea is that, you know, I'm just going to start selecting these guys, right, as I refine them. Just bringing some of these rips up and, you know. Alright, throwing some of these rips in there, modeling wise. And you know, sometimes this stuff is done in 2D, sometimes it's done in 3D. So you just never know. there was a time when the World of Warcraft logo had never been done in 3D, and the company I was working for, we were in charge of making its first kind of like 3D logo, and I was tasked to model it, and I had to take all the stuff that they did in 2D and had to make it in 3D, so it's something that does happen in the industry, and you should kind of know how to do it and be prepared for something like that. It's just lettering and a little bit of typography, really. All right, so I'm just at this point I'm just making sure all my verticals are vertical, all my horizontals are horizontal, and adding some of those rips in there. All right. For the corners, right, I can throw kind of a fillet on there, and I'm going to select these two, just weld those together. All right, I'm going to fillet these guys, select those two verts where they meet, weld those, making it one. All right, I'm just going to, just giving it softer edges, softer corners, things like that. Just gonna fillet this guy. No, I'll leave that guy the way it is. Alright, so let's just keep refining and softening some of these edges up. Wherever you see these kind of little tears or these rips in the text, alright, you can throw some edges or some vertices its way and really start to make that. Right, so I feel like we've addressed a lot of these areas. If you guys go through and do yours, you should definitely add as many as you see there, and then you're just going in and detailing it out. Easy peasy. So now I just need to select one on my keyboard, W to move. So I'm just kind of moving these guys in place just to where I see them kind of rip and I can even refine this guy a little more. Right, 2 W. Right. When it comes to 3D, it's literally just moving these verts around, getting the basic shape, not getting over, ahead of yourself by trying to do too much too fast. Right? You're starting slow and then building from that. Starting slow, building from that. And before you know it, you've already got something, and So with this guy, I can just, boom, select this guy, weld. I'm gonna actually select this guy, delete it. Make sure I've only got one real edge there. Maybe delete this guy too. And then just bring this guy out. And if I scale this guy out like so. I can better serve that shape. All right, just like that. Just simple. I'm just moving these Bezier curves around on the X and Y axis, you know. Nothing too crazy, nothing too elaborate here. Just basic 3D, you know, movement, geometry work. So let's just continue on this little road we're on, and we will be fine. We will be just fine. Actually, let's move this guy in. Alright, we're ripping it up. This guy looks like it's kind of... Okay. So the next thing I want to do is kind of outline this little flower thing that they've got going on here. So once again, we're back to our line shape. I'm gonna just draw out this like so, and then like that. I'm just using simple line. I'll show you guys a cool trick that you know, that you can do with lines that kind of make them, you know, super helpful and super useful when it comes to modeling things like this. All right, as you guys can see, I'm not even going, you know, I'm just kind of building. I'm not worried about too much. I'm not going crazy or anything like that. So right, so the idea is, you know, I can still move all this stuff after the fact, so I'm just kind of placing them in a general vicinity, you know. So maybe I move this guy like so. I'm gonna convert all of those into corners and then use that. Alright, so if I want, now I can take all of those and, you know, just fillet them just a little bit. If I wanted to. I don't know if I want to. Alright, so now let's get to these guys. So this guy is a stem. So is this guy. So let's just attach these guys together. So I'm going to attach these guys. And if I hit 3 on my keyboard and I select these guys, I can throw an outline on them right here. And I'm going to outline it from the center, right? And you guys can see I can just give it like a kind of like a little shape, you know? Just going to select these guys at the top here and let's turn them into corners. And then let's actually weld them together. Let's weld these guys. Weld these guys. Okay. All right, so the cool thing about working with splines is the kind of things you can do with them. So like now I've got these intersecting shapes and I want these shapes to kind of merge together, but they're not. So I'm just going to move this vert kind of inside this guy, and there's another function whenever you're using splines, which is the trim tool. And this is pretty cool. Watch this. So this is going to allow me to trim out the excess from there. So now I can go back into one. Now they're split still, but all I've got to do now is just weld those together. And now instead of having two shapes, I've only got one. Right? And that's a pretty cool feature that you guys have at your disposal. So now for these leaves, I'm going to do something similar. So I'm going to select all these guys. So I'm just going to hit attach. I think I passed it. Whoops. Attach. I'm just going to attach these guys. I'm going to hit 3 on my keyboard. Select all of these guys, and then I'm just going to outline them a little bit, right? And then I can turn these guys into my leaves. So I can just weld these guys together. Weld. Weld. All right. I can turn them into corners. Corner, corner, and I can just make the rest of these bottom parts, whoops, smooth, right? So we can have ourselves some lines. So we can have ourselves some, you know, pretty quick and easy little leaves. Right, if I turn this into a Bezier, I can then, right, turn these into Bezier corners. I can even bring this guy down like so. All right, follow the silhouette of what we already have there. Rotate them if I need to. All right, so this is working with your splines. I know we've been working a lot with polygons, but I just want to kind of open you guys' eyes to other means of working inside of 3ds Max. You know? It's just to show you there's a bunch of different ways to do whatever it is that you're really trying to do. So. I can scale this guy in if I wanted to. All right. I can throw an edit poly on this guy, and you guys can see what it's, what it's looking like. Edit poly. All right. Let's fix this one. Let's make this guy smooth. Let's pull this guy up. Let's make this guy smooth again. Alright. Alright, just like that, we've created that little shape that they had there. So, the next thing I want to kind of do is just kind of go back into these guys and then just kind of round these out a little bit. They just seem a little sharp. So let's round some of these guys out. All these 90-degree angles. We'll just throw a small fillet on there, and it should give us something nice. I'm just gonna do these. I'm being a little selective. Something like that. Select all of it, and then just reduce the threshold a little bit, maybe 0.9. Whoops, that's way too much. 1, that sounds good. Alright. So now if I hit edit poly, that's what I should get. Alright, you can see I've got some of that torn quality to it as well, which I'm really liking. I'm really starting to dig that. Alright, the last thing we're going to need to outline now is our sword. And actually, let's turn this off. So we've got this little gem thing in here. We're going to add that as well. So let's just add that to our line. We're going to attach it. And we can do something cool. I'll show you guys something cool that you guys can do. So if you guys want, you can detach it as detach a copy of this guy. And then, so now whenever you turn this on, there's a hole here. But the cool thing is, since you have that extra piece that you detached from it, right? I have one, right? I detached a copy of that gem looking piece in here. It's right here. You guys can see that. So I'm just going to select it, hit edit poly on it. And what I can do is I can shift, drag, and then just scale this guy in to make it look like it's like a gem or something that's like been stuck out of it or something like that, So, yeah, that's something you guys can do and to take it to the next level. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is kind of just wrap up this sword and call it a day. It's relatively easy as well. Just using the line tool, we're just going to make sure we're in our front view. And then we're just going to draw ourselves the shape of the Master Sword. Alright. Okay, you guys know me. I am extremely lazy, so I only want to do this one time. So I'm actually going to delete these two, leaving myself with just this side complete. Alright, so now what I want to do is just go in here and start making the changes that I need to make. So I know this guy's probably got like a cool little hilt or something like that right there. And as you guys can see, I'm literally just modeling off of like fuzzy looking pixels. So you guys should, find better resolution and use that. But let me find Sword. I'm just gonna find a better image of it online that I can use as like, okay. So it's got kind of like, let's delete this. I'm actually gonna refine this guy a little bit. All right, I'm pretty close. pretty close to what it looks like. So, like so. Actually, this goes up like so. Okay. Then I can just, just refining these guys. So with these, I want to make sure I weld those together. I don't want to have anything floating or hanging or anything like that. So just gonna leave it like so. Let's turn this smooth. Smooth as well. Like that. Okay. So this is kind of rounded here. So all I need to do is refine this. Hit 1, W to grab this guy, pull this guy down like so, and then fillet. Select these two, weld to make sure that I've only got one vert now. Alright, I think that is it. Let's now, clean up some of these areas here. Let's weld there to make sure we're getting rid of any errant vertices that we may have. Same here. Let's weld. We'll actually weld these two as well. Alright. Now if I hit edit poly on this bad boy, I should have something that looks like that. And all I need to do is hit the symmetry button. Boom. On the X, hit 1 on the keyboard. Just pull this guy in a little bit more. Like so. We've got our sword. Alright. Just like that. Alright, so another thing I want to do now is, now that I've got the whole thing, I can now throw another edit poly modifier on it. Select the outline. Watch this, guys. And then create shape from the selection. Hide this guy, and now I've got myself a nice outline of my sword. And if I enable it in renderer and in viewport, you guys can see I've got a pretty sweet outline of the sword here. Right? And if I want, the next thing I can do now is I'm going to I want to add like some cool, some like stripes. I'm just going to shift drag. Actually, no. Let's do that with one of these. From the top, I'm going to shift drag so I have one of my verts here. Hit the front view to make sure I'm doing what I need to do. And what I want to do is I just kind of want to add some cool little stripes, like the sword has those hand bar, or the grips. So I'm just gonna find my symmetry here. That's unless it's like, let's do maybe that and then fillet that. There we go. Let's just weld those. Alright, so just gonna 3 like so, and then Okay. Like that. Now I can select these guys and just duplicate them down like so. Maybe I'll have them cross each other. Delete those. Now I'm actually going to select these guys. I'm going to detach them. Just detach them in general. These would be like our laces. And I'm actually going to make these into radials and then turn on quad cap for them. And then just reduce their size like that. And then enable this guy, render a viewport. So we got something that looks like that. Alright, so today we worked on our logo. We worked on the coin. We're going to use this for the back and then the whole thing for the front. So hopefully you guys learned some stuff. I showed you guys how to make some rips, how to make some tears in this stuff, how to make some of these little cool laces. Next class, we're going to finish this guy out, detail it a little bit more, and then get a coin ready that we can take into Substance Painter, low poly, and then throw some textures on. Bake some textures out and then throw some textures on it. All right, so other than that, does anybody have any questions for me?